I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
No. We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Away, big fella. Life doesn't get better than pizza in a Cougars game, huh? Mm-hmm. Go Cougs!
Hey y'all, this is Ryan Monso, and this is the Talking About Them Cougars podcast from GoCoogs.com. That's Brad Towns. A lot of you there tonight. All of a sudden, something's happening. We're going to talk with Eddie Nuñez about everything U of H, West Virginia, the game atmosphere, tailgating, stadium concessions, everything, you name it. What we're going to ask, if you have a question, put it in the comments. Brad tonight is in charge of the comments, of asking questions from there. We have a ton to get into with Eddie. But before we do it, Star Pizza, since 1976, they have been feeding you. The perfect pregame meal for Cougar basketball is Star Pizza. You can get it at 59 in Shepherd on Norfolk. You can get it at Heights Boulevard in Washington on Harvard. You can get it in Katy, but that might not be the best place pregame. They've got buffet Tuesdays and Fridays lunch specials all week. I know a big group of U of H fans are meeting there tomorrow night before the basketball game. You got Lehigh on the mind. Jamie Hollingsworth preview, scouting report going to be live tomorrow morning. We're going to get into Lehigh. We're going to be on Lehigh tomorrow night. But get your Star Pizza first. And Section 12X, Brad. That's Galen.
I know that's
wrong one.
That means I'm ready for basketball season.
Okay, Houston Strong basketball.
Boom.
Tell them about
12X right there, baby.
Wow, you just disappeared. Do that again.
Fantastic. Got the double
hat up.
Wear both of them at the same time.
Right in front of your face. There you go. He just disappeared.
Boom.
Like that headless horseman.
Boom. Section 12X. Go get your stuff.
That's a good idea. How about we just go ahead and... So this morning, I wrote about the issues around U of H, the game experience, tailgating, the stadium, parking. Encourage you to check that out at GoCoogs.com. We have a few suggestions. I don't want to make this interview with Eddie about those suggestions. I want it to be about your feedback. And from Coug fans, from the Veer on GoCoogs.com, from social media, it's no lie to say we've had 300 suggestions, 300 comments about things that could be done better, that U of H needs to improve on. That's the conversation we're going to have today. I think people believe that Eddie is in charge of every single detail. He's not. There's a lot of people that come together to make these games happen. But at the end of the day, it's his name on top. And he's the guy that's got to answer questions. We're going to ask those to him. We're going to be direct, but polite. I think it's important to get answers for people. I think it's pretty important that he agreed to come do this. We did not ask him to do this until late last night. And we had intended to go with a couple of players, but this was gaining so much traction that we thought, we got to do this. We got to talk to Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally the number one topic. That we did.
It was everywhere
on the message boards. Nobody was really even talking about the game, and on Twitter. So I mean, it's my least favorite subjects, but that's what the masses are asking for.
But 100% credit to him. There are ADs that have been here that would not do this. They would never come out in an unscripted fashion. We did not give him any questions. He did not ask for any questions. We are going to ask him the things that are on our minds and the things that you're bringing up. So if you have a question or comment, put it in those comments and we'll get to it. Brad, anything other than what we're going to talk about here left over from you from yesterday?
Well, not really left over from yesterday, but I mean, we have to understand. I think everybody's we got to understand our history. This is not new. This is not unique. Attendance has been an issue really since the newness of the Astrodome wore off. We touched on it last night about how it was in 1976, our first year in the Southwest Conference. We were 9-2. We had clinched the Southwest Conference and came back home to play Miami in front of 20,000 people. So, guys, this is a long-time issue. It's gone across multiple generations of ADs and families, and it's something we're trying to figure out. It's not as simple as, make one or two things happen. But understand it's important. We got to figure it out, and I think we can. This takes a lot of focus, a lot of effort, and getting a plan and sticking to that plan over time.
Okay, here he is, Eddie Nuñez, joining us. We appreciate this, Eddie. Not a lot of ADs are willing to come do this.
I appreciate you guys. I really do. Yesterday was a tough one across the board. It was a game we all felt like we should have won. We didn't come to play, and so when you think about all the other pieces to the puzzle, we didn't execute in some respects. And so seeing some of the messages, and I corresponded with one or two, and then it just, I get steamrolled. I think everybody got a little more momentum and wanted to voice their thoughts, and so what I did is took in some of it, not all of it, but really wanted an opportunity. And when you reached out, I said, you know what, let's have a conversation. We're not perfect, but I want to be able to address what I can and make sure our fans know that we're doing everything and we're listening. More than anything else, they need to know that it's not just myself, it's my team and everybody else. They're listening, not just to social media, but emails and everything else, making sure that we can address what we need to address.
So people had issues with attendance, which maybe can put on you TV, whatever, atmosphere and experience, the amenities, the food quality and stuff, and students. On those specific things, do you have anything you want to address off the start?
That's a lot. Every one of those we can spend a good amount of time on. So let's just take one at a time. I'd say the attendance, the first one. We started seeing a little bit of this after last game, the Arizona game, and especially after the win on the road at Arizona State. We thought, you know what? Let's see what we can do. So we did some ticket pricing changes. We actually came out with a ticket approach of 2015 and doing a little bit more to play off the Peach Bowl. And we watched it. And throughout the weeks, even though we had targeted approaches to our fan base, to people that had purchased tickets before, we still weren't seeing the movement. We knew there's always excuses that we could make and everybody can make. It was an early game on a Saturday, the day after Halloween, but so did other people. Other schools played and everything else. And so that we don't want to use that as an excuse. We know it's always out there, but we got to be better than that. And so we were trying to do certain aspects to manage and actually put some better pricing for our fans. it just goes to show we got to do some more. And that's part of how we live and learn, and we have to be better, and we have to look at things a little bit differently. The student approach, again, when we talk about fans, let's give them credit though. For the first 3 games, there was over 9,000 students in the first 3 games. That's huge. That's last year when I got here, they said we had, I think one of the games we got 6,300, and everybody's like, that's the most we've ever had. And I thought, well, that's great. Well, we got to grow on this. And we grew. And the last, those first 3 games, we had over 9,000. The last 2 haven't been where they need to be. And I honestly, we've done everything we've been doing. It's no different. We actually pushed some different merchandise and ideas out. Heck, I think you might have seen some of the things I put on social media to try to attract them and offer things that were out of my own, that I can grab and say, you know what, let me see if these will entice somebody to come. So we're going to continue to work with our student body. There's 9,000 beds on campus. I know people keep saying this is a commuter school. I mean, 9,000 beds is huge. And by 27 or actually 20, I think 27, they're going to have over 11,000. So to know that we're more than a community, we just got to figure out with our students, how do we get them in there? And it's not an excuse. It's we have to work together with them. So to take that approach, I want to make sure you understood we are throwing everything. We're working with all our different groups that we can when it comes to ticketing. We're not where we want to be. We got to find ways to put butts in the seats. That's the most important part of this.
When you talk about reaching students, how do you get to those people, those 9,000 that are on campus? What is the thing that's missing there?
I don't, again, from the first game to where we are, every time we talk to student groups, we're on campus, we meet with them, we might go through and the Greek housing and everything else. Everybody is excited about the efforts we're making. We're opening up more for students to be there. We did it last year at basketball, and it's really, it started last year with basketball. We really pushed the needle as much as we could, trying to get more students in the Fertitta Center, and we just continued that here. So I really can't tell you the point, like the exact point why this is happening. It's really we got to connect, and I know our student affairs office and others on campus are supportive. They're trying to help us as well. So this is something we're going to continue to do everything we can, because they are that energy. I've said it time and time again. When they're in there and they are rocking, that's a whole different environment with our fans and everything else. But they're usually nonstop the whole game, and so we've got to find a way to connect even better with them.
Where do you think you and your team need to be better? What is things specifically that y'all are doing where you think, you know what, we haven't connected here?
I guess let me take it a step back. This year, leading into this year, we really tried to see. Actually, I'll even take a little further back. When I got here last year, everything was already baked and into the system. Parking, traffic, everything, all those plans were in place. And all I can do is just understand it and try to learn as much as I can learn. At the same time, I was also trying to get to know the environment. Leading into this year, I had heard certain aspects where people were really concerned about was traffic and concessions. And so we took it upon ourselves to say, okay, these are 2 areas that we wanted to really focus on. Now let's take traffic. And I think this is why I want people to understand. Traffic doesn't, I don't have any oversight besides recommendations, and it's our event. At the end of the day, we work with the University Police Department, we work with parking and traffic, we work with the city, we work with with Metro. And so all these agencies have to come together and come up with a plan to work the lights, everything else. And so we sit there working with them and trying to understand all the factors that go into this. This year is the first time, and we started this process, and I appreciate our chief on campus and so many others that were willing to come to the table and really look at this in a different perspective. Metro, the train that kind of goes on Scott Street, and again, I'm still learning all the names and everything. I apologize. So this year's the first time ever that they're working with us to control the train at certain times. In the past, it would just be its routine schedule. And I know it sounds like, well, it's not enough. Well, we're not going to stop it, because it also is it helps us too, because there's people that do take this. So it's important. but there is times that we have to find ways to control it so we can get traffic in and out. And there's so many lights between our stadium and the interstate. And so making sure everybody's synchronized is a key. So this game, I had people coming up saying, we saw the police there early this time at all the lights. And I'm like, that's great. So we're making strides. Is it still where we need? No. But this was a big venture to get us to be able to have some of these things in place. You know, something as simple as on Cullen, coming towards the stadium and going out both before the game, from Holman to the interstate. So going past Eldon and all that. After the game, that's 2 lanes going to the interstate. But yet our fans don't realize that, and they're basically in one line. We contraflow 2 lanes out to help people. And after the Texas Tech game, I was out there actually directing people to get into that second lane because they would fly out off campus and vice versa coming on campus. So informing and communicating is part of the narrative that we're trying to continue to help. The concession side, that was another challenge. At the end of last football season, the GM of we lost the GM of our campus of athletics. So the general manager for Chartwells, who handles all our concessions and our premieres, they removed him for whatever reason. So going into basketball season last year, we were all hands on deck trying to figure things out, and it worked out. It wasn't perfect, but it worked out. Leading into this year, they were still figuring out some of the pieces, putting people in place, new people. And at the same time, I'm raising the standards. I don't want things like they were last year. So all the concessions, I want new items, new ideas, figuring things out. I want our premium areas to be the best they can be. But we're trying to do this with a group that never had been there before. So these are 2 areas that were important because we got probably a good number of complaints or concerns. And we said these are 2 areas we wanted to tackle. And so I'll add one more piece. After the first couple games, one of the major concerns we had on concessions were basically people were there was no lines. They were all just bunched up onto the concession stands. Simple things like adding stanchions, creating walkways, creating things that would help it. That's part of this. So we're doing a lot, but one of the pieces that I've continually heard, and I can assure our fans that I am actively looking at, is pricing. I know we've done some comparisons with those peers around us. I know we've done other things, but we have to be making sure that we can offer different combos, different things that will allow our fans to have some of those price points that they can address. And even if we change it up from game to game, those are things we need to be creative with.
Fans have been complaining in the last 24 hours about stale food, bad food, premium sections, the lines to get into the club. These seem fairly basic things that should happen. Is that stuff reaching you?
That's us. That the getting people into the venue, that's us. We have to be better. As I said, with these other pieces, it's working with different groups. We have to be better getting people into the venue at certain times, regardless of when they show. We can't be sitting there saying, well, people waited till last minute. Well, we know they're going to, if they're going to be at the last minute, we better be ready. And so part of this is on us. Part of it is on hopefully our fans would come. But 11 o'clock game, we didn't execute the way we should have, point blank. I realize that and I recognize that. And so the stale food is one of the things that I'm working extremely, I don't want to say, we're working hard with our concessionaire to make sure that the food is as good as it can be and it's fresh. I don't want popcorn cooked a week ago. That's part of the aura. When you think about coming to a game, to a ballpark, to a stadium, it's smelling that popcorn, smelling the food being cooked. So making sure that we have that, our fans have that. That's they deserve it.
U of H fans have gone through 8 ADs in the last 25 years. And each time a new AD comes in, it seems the same problems pop up with the traffic, with the food, the pricing. This goes back way before you. I'm not pinning it on you, but is anybody addressing that long term? Like, how do we get the institutional knowledge to make sure that we're not making the same mistakes as have been made generation over generation?
So I would start off by this. There's not much I can do for adding infrastructure around the stadium. I'm not creating a fast pass that's going to go straight to the interstate. That challenge has been there since before me, when they built the stadium the way it was. To listen to people say, well, we don't have certain groups are not in a shaded area. Well, our stadiums at a certain time, everybody's getting sun. So I go back to the traffic. There's certain aspects that I am not going to be able to make perfect, but I got to improve them. And that's what I want our fans to understand is my focus is trying to make what we can to make it the best it can. And there's certain limitations. I hate to put a limitation on myself, but I cannot add a track. There's also construction all throughout campus right now. The spur has been under construction for years, and it'll probably be there for many other years. But all those things add to the dilemma. And so we have to figure out how to make it the best we can, regardless. And so, it's the same thing. Concessions, every one of those are things that I've been dealing with since I started this career at other institutions, from LSU to Florida to Vanderbilt. Everywhere I've been, it has been a topic. So that's why I try to tell our fans, I want to listen and I want to hear what we can and try to let them know. Look, I want to put this out there because I think it's important. And this is one of the things probably started up yesterday, was the situation with our a security group that we work with, that stopped some students from going up and celebrating. Look, I was at Oklahoma State. I saw when their students went up there and had the whole shirts waving. Do I like the idea why they did it? No, because that means that we weren't winning. But I was actually smiling and saying, and like, that's awesome. Look, they're having a great time. Go for it. I didn't know what had transpired until some others had made me aware of this, through social media and other things. And so when I started reaching out to my staff, they were already on it and said that someone took it upon themselves. It wasn't athletics. This is a group that works for us, that we task to do certain things, and we educate them and communicate with them and make sure that we hope that they can follow through with what we expect, the standard, the expectations, hold them accountable. But they didn't. So that is one that I can tell you right now, yes, they work for us. So I'm taking responsibility, saying, I apologize because that never should have happened. But it's something I'm definitely going to address, and it's been addressed already. And we're going to make sure that we continue to be better there.
Okay, Brad.
All these things that we've talked about here, they're not going to go away for basketball, right? So what is it? Do you have a plan currently to be able to address this for basketball? Because the biggest concern with that is, with basketball comes a lot brighter light on us right now, just from a national standpoint. But also the fact that we've got so many games that are going to be weeknights, which makes the efficiency of getting in, especially, going to be a lot tighter.
Yeah. So that's a great question, Brad. I will say that's one of the reasons why we wanted to tackle traffic, because we felt that if we can find ways to expedite the egress and ingress for our fans on a weeknight game, it is critical. We understand 7:00 games. We don't have just like this past weekend, we don't have the ability to dictate times and when we're on TV and days of the game most of the time. So to work with our traffic, our police, everyone to find ways to get people in and out, that's key. I will say this, that's going to be a priority when it comes to concessions. That's another one, because yes, it's a smaller number, but it's also just as important, just as impactful. So we're going to continue to do what we can. I will say the one thing that I didn't touch on, but I want to make sure our fans understand, they're going to see, we've already started investing in marketing and all the game day experience. But when you think of marketing, it's not just the pushing tickets or the promotions that you see on social media. It is that in-house experience. And last game, again, we own it. We should have been better. And I think that a lot of it does with the amount of people you have in an arena or in a stadium. We've got to find ways. But when you go to the Fertitta Center, you're going to see a noticeable difference. And why? Because we had a little more time to do some investments that we wanted to with the facility. Next year, those same investments are going to be in football. And so it's part of the process that I'm trying to do, is invest in ways that we can, with lighting, with music, with other things, really generate that experience that you see when you go to the Rockets games or you go to somewhere else, with the music, the lights, the the interaction with the fans, we have to be more engaged and make sure that it's not just recognizing certain people. We have to do that because it's some of those people are the ones that help us pay bills and do things that we need to do, and they're great partners and great supporters. But at the same time, we have to find ways to continue to generate more interest and more excitement with our fans and getting them in, but also when they're in there, keeping them entertained the whole time. So those are the three things that I'll tell you from a basketball side. I know they're going to see a difference, but when you talk football, we've got to continue to improve when it comes to that marketing because it's important. But with more fans and everything in the venue, that will help because the targeting gets a little bit more defined.
Right. And, the topic of pricing is always going to be an issue because we have to be realistic. Price of poker's going up. You've got an extra 20 million you got to account for. We know that. So I guess it's hard to be able to ask to cut anywhere as far as pricing goes. But what I want to ask you about is how are we going to, or what are your thoughts about trying to increase the value of the time investment that people are going to be doing each weekend? Because when you look at it, you're leaving, door to door, you're probably on the road maybe 2 hours for the average person. And then, 3 to 4 hours just for the game itself. And then the time in between it. So what do you see that you can do to be able to create that extra value to where people say, oh man, I've got to pay for parking. I got to pay for concession stands, got tickets. And then what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you can take this in so many different directions because you're right. That experience, and I've always said this, begins the moment you get in your car and you start to drive to the stadium or to the arena or to any of our facilities. Because at that point, that experience, and we've hopefully done everything we can when it comes to ticketing, marketing, putting them, communicating, educating as far as getting to campus. So when they're in their car, making sure that they understand what are the best routes, what are the best means to get there, but when they get there, that they have parking, that they're able to park where they can. So all those factors are important. But taking it to a whole nother level is that outside the venue experience. And those are areas that I want to continue to improve. We're working with our students in their tailgating experience out there, trying to bring them closer to campus, making it a little bit more a part of what's happening within the overall experience. We've done kid zones before. We've had some success, and sometimes it has fallen on its face. We've opened up our merchandise store, which last year was non-existent. We have one there. It's open way in advance now because I want those that come on campus to be able to go purchase items if they want to. We're opening concessions outside the venue earlier than we did before. Maybe we have to push it even earlier. Those are things that we're trying to identify. But that is a focus for me. And yes, we're talking about truly just one more game at home, but more than anything else, continue to find ways to improve this because that outside experience, I've seen it firsthand at places that I've been before. I know how important it is. And then if we can keep that momentum going into the stadium, what Willie has, the program that he is building, that comes out and represents, and the way those kids play, and they do it with class, with integrity, with character. And so we've got to do our part. Coach does what he's been doing, and we've got to find a way to put all the marketing and everything inside the venue. I know people talked about concerts before and after. That's a long, long day. And I've done that other places, and sometimes it's successful, but they'll start disappearing shortly, so we've got to figure that out. It's not to say that we won't do it. It's just one of the things that I've seen at other places have a little bit of success, but sometimes not execute as well as I wanted to.
Right.
The concerts before the game, fine.
Yeah.
The lighting and music, fine. But people are really focused on getting into a parking lot at a reasonable cost and getting in the stadium and the pricing once they get in the stadium. Is there any ability or desire to alter pricing to make some parking a little more affordable? For a family of four, this is a pretty expensive ticket.
I would say that we have done some assessments. We've looked at other schools. We looked at we're in a price comparison that we feel is accurate to who we compete with, our league, but also other schools that are in our region. Now, with that being said, us charging $50 for parking, that's been a question of mine for the last week and a half, and we've got to fix that. Because I understand there's certain things that there's certain lots we have to do, but we have to work. We don't control parking. Parking goes through campus parking. It's another group that we work with. And so it's not like the $50 we're just trying to, there's operational costs that we're paying them. Plus then at that point, there is a little bit of revenue that we do generate, but we have to figure out what that price point is for us and also be able to offer families discounted areas where they can go. And if you want to park as close to the stadium as you can, you're going to have to pay a little bit more. But if we offer something somewhere else and say, look, this is where you can park, this is a price point that you can address or hit. Somebody mentioned, it might have been you, or you do before at a certain X number of hours before it's at a certain price, and then it goes out. Well, good, congrats, I give it to you. Good job. No, honestly, it's those are the things that are important to be able to figure out. When they go in the venue, we got to offer different ideas, menu ideas. How do we do a family pack where you can do some stuff where if you're buying kids meals, you get a kid's price. So those are things that I have jotted down that we are going to be addressing. Is it going to be executed perfectly for the last game? I'm not going to promise that to everybody, but I'm going to tell you that we are going to be having those meetings over the next, again, we've had some, and we're going to continue to have more throughout the next week and two, but make sure that we can do what we can in basketball as well.
My understanding is that the parking contract with the university supersedes anything y'all want to do parking wise for the most part. Is that correct?
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to, they are a great group. They help us in a lot of ways. But we have to sit down and work on that agreement, because I think there's things that put us in a pinch in trying to help us do what we really would like to do. You guys have said it, our fans have said it. If we want to get butts and people there, we got to make it accommodating as much as we can. We also do have to generate, like Brad said, we have to generate some revenue, because right now we've got it. Everybody's looking at athletics saying, well, you got to grow your revenues. Well, this is a way I can, but I also don't want to price our fans out. So it's a balance, but it begins with that conversation with those on campus and trying to get them to understand that this is bigger than just trying to generate revenue. We have to find ways to get people in.
Brad, do you have any comments, questions from the audience?
Yeah, I was just looking through that. I lost the one that I had. Most of it centers around, let's see here. Don't mind the ticket prices, but when I was pissed to pay $30 for my double screwdriver, I got to have my breakfast drink for the early KO.
See, listen, I thank you for letting me know there's $30. I didn't know that, but I wasn't able to appreciate one yesterday morning, but we'll look into it. That's all I can say is I'll look into it. I'll try to I hope we don't have too many 11 o'clock games. I like later games too. So,
well, you bring that up. One of the biggest thoughts in my head, the question I want to ask and get some insight on is how is the weekly conference schedule set up, as far as what's the process for ESPN and Fox to choose? Do you have any say in the time? Do you have any say at all in anything, or is it just here's when you play, here's where you play, good luck?
Yeah, you have maybe one game before the year that you're able to have any kind of conversation, and you still don't really have. And that was that. Actually, there was 2 games this year they talked to us about. Was a Colorado game. They told us we're going to play on this date, and they said, "Can you make that happen?" And we're like, "Well, sure, we can make it happen." But it really wasn't like one of those things like, "Do you want to play?" Same thing with the Central Florida. They said can you move that game to a Friday? From our perspective, it really doesn't change much. We're on the road. Yes, it's a day earlier. We have to leave, but that was all done way before the scheduling. These typical ones, like the one this week, No, we were like everybody else. We finished the Arizona State game with a big win, thinking, hey, they're going to put us in a prime spot. Our fans are going to go. We know, again, if people are going to say it's the day after Halloween, we're going to try to make it. And to see that 11 o'clock game time, it hurt. And we appreciate our partners. They've been, our TV partners are great, but it's also we're at the mercy. So I don't have any determination. I do want to. This is another thank you I want to say to how we remember the circumstances that led after that Arizona State game, with Coach Hester passing away. Our staff, his family, our coaches, everybody came to me and said, hey, can we make this the black game? And because the black game is supposed to be the TCU game, I said, can we execute it? Can we find a way to get this? So I do want to compliment everybody, because to be able to make that turnaround and do that in less than a week, basically, and get T-shirts and this and the graphics and the videos, we had to pivot. I will tell you, we had a lot of things already done, and we had to switch our marketing plan. And so a lot of kudos to our team for helping execute that, and our fans for stepping up and showing out.
Houston is an event city.
Yeah.
It's just how it works here. Has there been any thought of turning a game like this blackout game into an event? We've talked about like an unbreakable game where you turn it into a fundraiser for cancer screening, prevention, fundraising for research, tying in with Memorial Hermann. Is that something that is on your radar? Is that something that perhaps could be looked at in the future?
Yeah, we'll sit down and have that conversation. And I saw that you had posted that earlier in the week, and that's something actually we discussed, because we wanted to make sure that we recognize Coach Hester and everything he had done. It is something we'll continue to have that conversation. I'm be honest with you, the theme is right now is to find ways to win, and so for more than anything else is making sure that we can do what we can, and then we will sit down after the season and really identify how do we make the most of those games, if we're going to continue the black game or anything else, the blue games, and how we do them. And all that is part of what happens between now and the start of next year. And so it's a great idea, and it's something that to continue to have a tribute and the tie-in with Memorial Hermann and all the healthcare services that are around this area. Yesterday was the Heroes game, and honestly, I feel like we could have done more. And when you talk about marketing, you talk about putting butts in the seats, we've got to find ways to connect with the police, with law enforcement, all the first responders, and offer tickets to them at a lesser price and have them come in. So there's things that, again, hindsight 2020, when you look back and saying, well, can we done things a little bit better? But those are things that we've got to execute, and our staff's got to be able to see it.
Got another question here I want to look at. Outside of donating more money, what can we alumni do to help?
Yeah, I would tell you one of the biggest pieces is what we're talking about right now, is coming to events, showing up for our team. And I say that not as a monetary, but more from the environment for our student athletes, because they deserve it. They deserve for our fans, for that stadium to be full. They deserve everybody to be cheering them on. This is a once in a lifetime experience for many of these kids to be able to play a football game inside TDCU Stadium in a Big 12 game, and to have that stadium packed with Coug fans is the most important thing for me that our fans could do. Yes, money's important. Yes, support is great. That support of coming to the stadium, cheering our kids on, and all our venues, all our sports is extremely important. Now, I'll also add this, and I know this is, we as a community, our fans have to be able to continue to make sure that they understand when we're taking jabs at the university, that doesn't help from a recruiting side. And so that's the one thing. Look, I get it. You want to give us recommendations, give us recommendations. But when we start challenging and saying, are we truly a Big 12 school or this or that? Just remember, all this ties together with recruiting. All this ties with we've got to build it. We got to do things. but our fans need help when in those kind of situations. We all were disappointed we lost. We're all disappointed, and we could do things better. Not taken away from that. That is 100%. But also understand that between all the social media platforms, keeping the narrative of the positive about the university and the direction of the program and everything we're doing and is always key, because Willie's got one of the top recruiting classes in the country, and we want to be able to continue that, and so do all our sports. And so if I was talking to our fans right now or to our donors, those are the 2 points that I would say: stay positive, bring somebody to the game, and support these guys.
Brad, anything else?
Basketball has ambassadors and Cougs in the cage. Does football have something similar, student leaders to help promote football attendance?
They do, not as profound. I'll give it. Coach Sampson and Lauren have done an unbelievable job for years now, creating that vibe, that culture, that group there. We are trying to replicate that, and we actually have some student leaders that are wanting to grow the one at football. But yes. So yes, we do, not at the same level. And even at basketball, look, let's put it out there. We need our fans in that arena. One of the things we learned last year is that environment is so much better when everybody shows up. So we need that cage down there full every game. And it's important to get our students there. And that group does a great job. They were on campus this week. Coach was with his bullhorn and the band and everything else, and that's part of it. That's part of us trying to make sure that we can build it, and we've got to do that more for football. We got to do it for all sports. So I would tell you that from that perspective, we got some work to do, and still opportunities to grow this.
So we need to just replicate more Lauren's. Have a few more of her.
Listen, she's done a tremendous job with basketball, and I'm fortunate to have she and I talked quite a bit about a lot of things before basketball last year, and she was one of the ones that helped us truly take a deep dive into our tickets for basketball and all the broker tickets that we had out there, and we were able to take 90% of those back, and the ones that we didn't were actually local people that had just had purchased abundance, and so we worked with them, and we were able to put tickets out to our season ticket holders that were on the wait list. So we had people on wait lists that we were able to fulfill tickets for basketball for the first time ever. So a lot of that goes to tribute to Lauren for seeing things constantly over and over and seeing that these sections were not true Cougar fans. So she's been a blessing for that program, and there's a reason why Coach Sampson has her leading the show when it comes to all that.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. We appreciate
we can give you
time.
a million more questions, but
I know. Listen, I'll finish off with this. And like I started, I want our fans to understand one thing. We hear you. We see those things. We see them as well. And there's things, just because maybe we don't respond or I'm not going, doesn't mean we're not listening. We hear you. We want to do it. And our team's going to continue to find ways to make this right. So I appreciate everybody. Look forward. I need your help. We need you there for the TCU game. All the fans that are on this, please do your part. Help us get people in their butts in the seats. We're going to do some things to market it and make it right. But more than ever, help us try to attract somebody to come there with you.
awesome.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. We appreciate it.
Ryan, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. We had 100 more questions we could have asked. There's some in the comments I want to get to.
I'm sitting there trying to scroll through. I've got a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm still scrolling to get to the bottom.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the new stuff. We
just
appreciate
to-
everybody for all the questions. I know everybody's got a million questions, a million suggestions. I mean, and it's good to see, because we all want the same thing. We might all have different ideas of how to get there. And then again, we might all be on the exact same page, but the end goal still remains the same. And, wish we could ask every question. We'll just keep on keeping on.
I want to get to a couple of the questions in the comments, because I think these are ones we can answer. I think the initial lead-in song for this show should be Black Sabbath. That would probably not work.
That would get us DMCA'd.
Yeah, there would be no show anymore. Give credit to Eddie for doing this 100%.
Yes.
I was surprised when he agreed, to be honest. I asked for it, but I just didn't think we had that kind of pull. I think he answered a lot of the questions we had.
It's not an easy thing to do, you know. And I thought we got pretty good answers. It's as good as we could.
I don't think I have seen another AD anywhere go on the firing line like that.
No,
we probably did not treat him as harshly as people wanted us to, but I feel like we asked him some pretty poignant questions. Eddie has gained my respect, not afraid to face the cloud. What did I say?
Cloud.
Yeah, well, whatever. I've been up for a while. This time change thing. So sick of the limited online tickets to choose from. So they're not going to open extra sections of the stadium, the outside sections, when there's so much that has not been sold in the sections that are available. That's just pretty basic control of a stadium. I think you would see that everywhere. Obviously, you're not seeing a ton of your peers not selling games out like this. That is an issue. I want to see what their plans are, like definitive plans. We'll see what happens in the TCU game. If it's as bad as it was yesterday, we're absolutely going to talk about it. We're absolutely going to call out athletics. He did say some things about recruiting that make sense, but you can still talk about when they come up short, when they fail. I have no issue with that at all. Look forward to a blunt, raw, and respectful Q&A. I don't know if we got raw. I'm going to be honest with you.
Thank you for the donation. We
appreciate that.
I don't know if we could. Hopefully we got to the point, and hopefully we were able to get some clarity for people. It's next to impossible to get answers and definitive solutions with something kind of in flow, right? Way
it happened less than 36 hours ago.
Well, and
they haven't had meetings about this.
This is something that's been building during the season. But given the poor performance on the field, all of a sudden the dam burst and everything comes out. You get away with a lot of shit when you're winning. I'll say that.
Yes, 100%. And if you turn the ball over 2 times less yesterday, you probably win. And we probably don't have this show. We probably don't have this conversation.
No, which I think in the long run, it turns out to be okay because, these are things that needed to be discussed. And these are the things that, that fans have had these questions. And I'm glad we were able to give this the form that it deserves. Go
ahead.
One thing that I hope that U of H, and this isn't Eddie thing, but he said it and it just sparked it in my head. But this goes back decades since I've been here. I can appreciate that we want to look at what other schools are doing, what our quote unquote peers are doing. But really, we only have a few peers out there. Our peers in college sports are going to be more the line of Miami, Georgia Tech, maybe Boston College, Cincy to an extent. Schools that are in pro cities, large cities. UCLA is going through the same shit that we go through. Doesn't happen as much with USC, but with UCLA, doesn't help that they've got to go 1 million miles to their stadium. But these are things that are unique to big city schools that have a lot of things that they are competing with. And, we talk a lot about events here and online as well. It has to be an event. It has to be, this is an event city, whether it's the livestock show, rodeo, Super Bowls, NCAA finals, regionals, every festival that you can imagine that comes through here. What was the weekend concert that we decided to move the game for?
I'm going to be honest. I think Eddie regrets that one.
Maybe, but it was also we had a decent turnout, more so than what a lot of people thought. But the reality is that this city is an event town, and the games have to be an event. And events aren't, at least in my mind, I don't give a shit what music you play. I it's a problem when it's too loud. I don't care about the game that in itself is the event in the stadium. But I think fans need a reason to invest 8 hours a day, because if you're asking somebody to come to a U of H football game, basketball is a little different, but a U of H football game, you're asking them to give up their entire day. Yeah. You might be able to knock out some stuff in the morning on a 7:00 game, but really all of us here, everybody in this chat, all 890 of you, thank you very much. Every one of you want to be out there at noon on a Saturday to get revved up for a 7:00 game. You're the ones that are willing to be there at dawn for an 11:00 game. I mean, these are the hardcore of the hardcore. They're not people who are looking to show up an hour before game time, and they're not the ones that are really going to be demanding that. Right. Look, I need to literally park on the doorstep. Which, the funny thing is, way back in the day, when I moved back to Houston from Nashville in 2002, I believe, it was homecoming versus East Carolina. And me and a buddy of mine drove up literally on the first row in front of Robertson. I took 26 steps to buy my ticket. I sat on the 50-yard line with 2 big giant beers. You can't do that anymore now. No. Thank God.
Yeah. You mentioned the peers. I think this is a totally wrong way to look at a U of H game. If your peers have a 50% full stadium, that's one thing. But if you're trying to compare yourself to schools in the region that are selling out, like Texas Tech, they're not your peer in this. They're just not.
Well, I mean, even Baylor's not.
Baylor is struggling with attendance this year. TCU, frankly, does not get criticized for their attendance. Their actual butts in seats. They should. But your peers are not the people you think they are. And you can't compare yourself and your pricing to those people. Your pricing has to be realistic. Is it more important to you to get $45 a seat for 18,000 paid people, or to get $20 a seat for 35,000 people?
Well, my question is does it? Maybe it's worth finding out in maybe limited test runs.
Yeah,
because I mean you can't guarantee people are still going to buy that. But I mean because you remember the good old days of the Groupon specials.
I really don't have a problem with that if it works.
No. But I mean, what I'm saying is, if it works, that's the question.
Yeah, but if we're wrong, you're not losing anything. You're really not. Right. If we're right, you could be gaining new fans that come time after time, a couple times a year. Maybe you're not adding a 6-time-a-year fan. Maybe you're adding the 2-time-a-year fan. Mm-hmm. But that adds up. And that's you've got to have the 2-time-a-year fan and the 4-time-a-year fan and the 6. You need them all because you're not going from 0 to 100 here. Wanda brings up this, and I missed this. I apologize when he was on. Repeatedly reported issues with the women's restroom. The door latch is missing. The doors have latches at no level. I'm going to tell you what, Wanda, I am going to bring this up with Eddie tomorrow, okay? I'm going to talk to him, and I'm going to get you an answer on this see if we can figure out, because if women don't feel comfortable in the restroom, that's a huge problem. And that's something they need to address. And it's quite possible they're just not, they don't have eyes on it. If they have eyes on it and they're not addressing it, that's an issue. So we're going to get an answer for you on that. Is there money for significant improvements to game day experiencing tailgating? I don't think you need school money to make tailgating better. The problem is that you built a new stadium and you built a new parking garage and then you built an indoor facility and then you built a football operations facility, and you've built so much on campus that there's really not a natural tailgating area. I don't think they take full advantage of the red lot. I think they could do a better job. Put tailgating there. They don't even do a very good job for most games between the stadium and the stadium garage. That's a lot of wasted space that could be used for small groups tailgating.
Wasn't that supposed to be like some kind of little entertainment walk or something like that that was supposed to come along with
which AD, which plan, which...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was supposedly, I thought I remember seeing some kind of graphics that it was going to be turfed and be, I don't know.
It could have been. And who knows who came up with that and how many marketing people ago that was.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million different ways to slice this, but I mean, the one thing that I'm always going to advocate for is tailgating. I think that's the most important thing to figure out.
So 100%.
Because I mean, that's the only thing that's going to keep you there all day. And
well,
one of the things that I hope that has to resonate, and I think most everybody in here is going to agree with me, is that tailgating is not a revenue generating endeavor. Every one of us who have done tailgating could never make the money back and would never even think about trying to make the money back. We'd like to cover costs as much as possible, but everybody's pretty much going into their pocket on that. They do it because it's fun.
You know this, I know this, most fans know this. Tailgating is the bridge between bad games, bad seasons, bad eras, bad coaches. If you have a blast tailgating with your friends, you're going to keep coming back. But that has to be convenient. It has to make sense in the flow of a school and a university. Not everybody is going to be able to tailgate right around the stadium, especially with how it's built up now. Right. But there's got to be something that works. They used to do some things in the indoor practice facility. They stopped doing that. I don't know the reason for that. Was it because the football team, and this would have been Dana, said, no, we don't like this? Would it have been there were incidents? I don't know. But can that be something you do? I don't know. But you've got to use the space better.
The question I have, and maybe you can answer this, I hate to bring up LSU, but it actually fits in this, in as far as scale goes. Is there a way to be able to tailgate on campus, to be able to allow people to set up on campus? I mean, like when we've gone to LSU games way back in the day, I thought that was the coolest thing, is that they've got just little bitty spots that were, off the shoulder on campus where 100 people are just lined up around the streets.
Yeah, you lost a lot of that ability when you just built up what you built. And U of H, the way that roads come in and out is not conducive, because people would tailgate on the side of roads and the side of parking lots and in grassy and green areas all around campus. Right now, a lot of that is under construction for the Centennial Project.
That makes sense.
Eddie brought up the Spur 5. That's always a nightmare. Trying to get on campus during the school day on Spur 5 is a nightmare. Had U of H been successful and turned Cullen into green space instead of an area, I don't know how that would have worked. I don't know how anybody would get onto campus. But there has to be a solution where you get people in and moving around and tailgating. I think tailgating is so vital to what you want to do. And nobody at U of H has ever seen it that way. And the last AD brought in some tailgate tent company from Lubbock to make money on everybody that puts a tent up. And they're still doing that. And it is freaking ridiculous. There is no reason why you should be trying to make a few dollars on tailgate tents when people can bring their own and set up, and it can be one or two people that just want to have a beer together. And that's fine. You don't have to sell ice and tailgate tents and all that other shit. Just let people be organic in what they want to do.
That was the thing, and that was the cool thing to watch as far as tailgating growing on campus. And I wasn't here when it started, but I was here early enough to see it kind of evolve into the kind of the big deal that it turned into. But I mean, really, it just started with people showing up to, hey, let's go sit in the parking lot because this game sucks. We're getting killed again.
Yeah. And, cheaper drinks.
Well, we also had in and outs.
Pass outs. Big deal. We definitely need to make parking a lot easier for the Tech game. I waited 45 minutes. This is the thing about so few ways in and out. And the rail has been a huge issue. The other side of campus, kind of near that purple garage, near the law center. I know it's kind of difficult getting in and over there. What they're
Continue.
I don't know who that was, but it's difficult getting in and out of this campus. And it's never going to be easy. Frankly, Brad and I talk about this a lot more than we should. But they screwed up when they did not put this stadium right on 45 in the intramural fields. That was a penny-wise decision that they made that is going to cost the university billions over 30, 40 years. The things you could have done, the entertainment district you could have built. We've had a lot of questions about this. Could you build an entertainment district around TDECU? No, it cannot. It never would work. You can't build something way inside that far off of the freeway that would work for just 5 games, 6 games. If you had done it on the freeway where people could get off and on pretty easily, that could have changed some things. And that would have been that stadium would have just been this shining billboard to millions of people every week that drove by it. Now, nothing. And I think that was a mistake. And I think it was the administration, and you had a CFO who was making decisions, and I think even got hit for making money when they built this stadium. I don't remember the details off the top of my head, but huge missed opportunity there. And it's going to cost U of H for forever. And it was to save just a tiny bit of money up front. And I realized they had to pinch pennies and do things and value engineer it. But man, just a little investment, a little foresight would have meant so much. I took my family, and the total cost was $212. I did this math looking at tickets for TCU, and it was way more than this. And so you might have got a deal, to be honest. But I don't think that's sustainable. It's not sustainable. You cannot go into the gate at $212. Now, the Astros can charge that. The Texans can charge it. The Rockets can charge it. I don't think the Dynamo can charge it. The Rice isn't charging it, and U of H shouldn't be. You've had family, the 4 tickets, the 4 Cokes, the 4 hot dog, that kind of thing. Those have kind of gone by the wayside. I don't know what happened. It would not have been this AD. It would have been the last one or the one before. Why is that not a thing? Why are there not many plans for people, and you throw in some, hey, here's a coupon for a hot dog and a bottle of water. You don't have to lose money, but apparently the hot dog buns are so bad that why would you want to do that? But you've got to have different ways to bring people in. On our website, we've got Coug fans, we've got GoCoogs. There are different price points for different kind of people. Anywhere you go, there's different price points of getting in and enjoying a game. And you go and sit in the club section or a suite, or where I like to sit before the new facility is in the end zone. They're different prices. You park across campus is a different price. There has to be a spot to where it makes sense for fans. And if you're coming from Katy, you're sitting in traffic for 45 to 60 minutes. When you get around the school, depending on when you get there, you could be sitting for another 45 minutes. And then dealing with kids and it's hot and it's cold or it's whatever, it's just a huge issue. I am glad that Eddie is reading the stuff we're doing and seeing the ideas. I don't know that he's going to take any of our ideas.
It
but
doesn't have
it's
to.
at least getting in. Maybe it spurs a better idea.
I'm not saying, I mean, I can come up with a bunch of ideas. I don't know if any of them are feasible. Like my number one idea would be cut the cost as low as possible to be the value option in a city of a million different things to do. You need to be a value option. You can't go head to head with the pricing of, you can't even have similar pricing to all the professional sports in town. You've got to be a value option until you reach critical mass. And then you can start raising the prices when you have no more seats to fill.
One of the ideas that I've thought about and I've never brought up, you partner with one of those parking companies that are right next to the rail, maybe an Edo. You say, look, we're going to pay you $5 for each person. The Rockets aren't playing, the Astros aren't playing, the Dynamo aren't playing. We're going to charge $5. You, the parking company, keep all of it. We're going to bring 2 food trucks and set them up right here so people can get some food. If they want to get it right here in this parking lot, get on the rail, go to the stadium, not have to deal with parking, not have to deal with walking across campus. You go right in, or there's tailgating there, and you come right back. There's a food truck still waiting for you. And you get right on 59 or 45 or whatever and go home. That's 10 minutes on the rail, parking cheap. Maybe there's a food truck. Maybe there's some kids, whatever. But it's another way. It's just another way to get people onto campus in the stadium. And that's the number one thing U of H is struggling with. If they didn't have a parking company, a parking contract campus-wide, the campus did this, I want to say 6 years ago. If they didn't have to deal with that, I would say there's a parking lot all the way across campus. That one's free. Come on. But they do have they've got to deal with some things. I understand. No big deal. But they have to be thinking of different things. I would like them to sit with season ticket holders and have conversations. 95% of the ideas are crap, and 95% of mine, and certainly Brad's and everybody else, because we're all thinking about our little anecdotes and our own little things.
Well, because they're all personal.
Good ideas will happen. And the same with students. I understand talking to groups of students and talking to the president and the vice president of this group or that group, but okay, let's talk to the people. Why is it okay for you to get here but not you? I understand that maybe a student can't make it at 11 a.m. on a Saturday, especially the day after Halloween. But there's got to be ways to get them there and explore that. Find out what you're not seeing. Eddie's in his 50s. He's not seeing the same thing that a 19-year-old U of H student is seeing. I'm not seeing it. So I would want to find out what is it? What's happening that we're missing? Please tell Eddie that despite all the issues with the last game, 7-2 is amazing. They're ahead of schedule, 100%. But that's Willie. That's not Eddie. Are student
He
athletes
definitely appreciates it.
required to attend other students' game? No. I think they do because that's their friends. Your friends
Sometimes
are
you
on
are.
your team.
Sometimes you
Well,
are.
okay, but sometimes, yes, you are. And then sometimes you're getting recognized at a game. Fine. But I don't think by and large they are. And they shouldn't be, if we're being honest.
Hey, I mean, when I was here, we went to every volleyball game.
Well, that was for a different reason.
Well, no, they were actually. Well, we all lived in.
They were pretty good too. Y'all lived in the
what is
same
it,
place.
Cambridge Oaks, is that
Yep.
it?
Yep. Opening game against Towson at 7 p.m. Going to be half empty. Okay. I disagree. At 7 o'clock, it might be because it's just hard to get in. And sometimes I think it takes people to get a little while to figure out, when they need to leave work, when they need to do whatever. Thanks for doing this, guys. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Has the tailgating ever been this bad? Since they moved to campus, I don't remember it. Obviously, it was bad during COVID, but this is, kind of similar. It's just not good.
The thing is it bad or is it non-existent? It's one thing to be bad. It's another thing to just not really exist at all. And see, the problem is that we know what we once had. And the thing is that looking at it where it is now and then where it can be in the future, you have a hard time having much faith in it because we're just run out of space.
Got a whole lot of nothing with this conversation. Well, that's on you. He gave you some good information.
I mean, I don't know.
It may not have been the answers you wanted. He may not have groveled. And frankly, they haven't. If you expected them to have this game yesterday at 11, get home at 7 o'clock, probably for Eddie and his people, and have everything figured out by now, that's on you. If they have it figured out by TCU, I think that's pretty good. If they have it figured out by next year, that's probably the most realistic thing. But did you expect concrete, definite, here's what's going to happen? Answers right now? If you don't control parking, how do you make definitive comments about parking? If I think he glossed over the food situation. They also have a contract that is campus wide with Chartwell's. They don't control it. Now, if the food is terrible, I think you can expect that the AD is going to do something about that.
Is that stuff still farmed out through what was the company that was running a lot of our offsite stuff?
It would have been Airmark or Chartwell's.
No, it was another. I don't know. Go ahead.
There was 1 year with the Delaware something, and they only lasted a year. U of H alums lead the nation in excuses. Sometimes this is just 100% right. Eddie
Many
talking
things can be
around.
true at once.
Yeah. I guess shade will never happen at Houston. I really don't understand how you expect shade to just happen. I mean, the sun has pretty much been doing its thing.
Well, talking about doing like a cantilevered roof or something like that. No, that'll never happen.
Well, who's paying for that? Where is that money coming from?
Well, I mean,
and for 6
money tree
games. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the dilemma that we run into is that there's a lot of things you can do with a lot more money, while at the same time we're talking about we need to get things more affordable. So you run into two things that are kind of diametrically opposed to each other: spend more money and make less money. I mean, you might have to take a hit in the near term. But that means also you can't add a lot of stuff that that some people might want to add.
45 wraparound construction for the next 10 years. It's not going to be 10 years. It's going to be 20. I mean, it is. It's going to be 20. Brad will have been dead for 8 years by the time this wraps up.
Probably.
It's going to be an issue, but it's going to be an issue for everything that happens in the city. It's going to have tentacles everywhere. And, it's just another thing that everybody's going to have to deal with. Zona is playing the Gators on opening night. This is correct. U of H is playing Lehigh. They are not the Florida Gators. U of H in their last game played the Florida Gators. Arizona was sitting at home. If your issue is opening night, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to tell you that Eddie had nothing to do with that one. Only one person deals with basketball scheduling. And I can tell you where to find it tomorrow at 7.
I will trust in him doing whatever.
I mean, it's kind of worked out, right?
I mean, yeah.
If you want to criticize all the little things that U of H does wrong, getting the hell out of the way so Kelvin can do his thing is probably one of the things they do right. And, nobody liked the schedule last year. You go to Toyota Center for your best game, and you go to Vegas and you lose a couple, and the sky was falling, and then you win the conference by 5 games and go to the national title game.
Let's be real. Don't like it, but it's just the way it is. I mean, especially for a cash-strapped school. I mean, these guys got to go and shake the tail feather where people are going to drop some cash.
And basketball is in a situation where they don't get the revenue or the money that football gets. And Kelvin, this one, the best non-conference games will be played at Toyota Center. Well, it's Florida State. Your best non-conference games are in Vegas and in Newark. But guess what? You're doing all of those, Toyota Center, Vegas, Newark, for the same reason, money. If a donor were to come out and say, here's $5 million, play these your best games at home, I'm pretty sure they would. But that guy doesn't exist. That woman doesn't exist.
Not yet. I mean, if there's any takers, hit me up and we can work out a deal.
Brad only wants 5%. Reduced parking prices are free for students and alums. Well, I don't know how that works. No one in the country does free parking. I mean, LSU used to do it, and it's not even a thing anymore. All talk, no answers. I love these people. Anyways, so apparently people did not enjoy this conversation.
I think a lot of them did. I mean, you're going to hear.
Yeah, I'm going to hear the bitches, and that's who's going to leave comments, and that's fine.
Well, those are going to definitely stand out.
For sure. But I thought he answered questions. I'm going to go back and listen to it and make sure that we he has the right ones.
The expectation, I mean, we've been through a lot of stuff like this before. Not like this, but I mean, these are the types of, if there's no way to tell you, hey, this was the problem, and this is exactly what I'm going to be able to do. That's not going to happen today. That's not going to happen tomorrow or next week. I mean, fortunately, we have some time before the final home game. Maybe there's some things that we can get. I thought he did the thing that was interesting to me is finding out kind of where all the different pieces that have to fit together and coordinate between. I mean, if you're having it's one thing to have to coordinate with one government entity, but it seems like you've got to do it with a number, and then that's just a mess to begin with. But the going forward, you've got to be able to figure out, and you got to have people on the same page that can manage those different, I guess, those different groups to be able to do their job. either holding their feet to the fire or giving them more support in enabling them to do their job. That's where you got to figure things out.
Did the band stop playing Train? Yes, the schools were complaining about it, and I think they were warned by officials, and the school folded on that one.
Bring it back.
Why not? You hear that, Cam, David Bertman? You hear that, guys? Bring it back. Just bring it back for Arizona. The band is going to Baylor at the end of the year. Hope y'all understand. Yeah. Guys, what do you think about culture being an issue? Culture is always going to be an issue. Who is in charge of fostering an on-campus culture? I just don't know how anybody can be in charge. I guess the culture of getting students involved and getting them hungry to go to football games, basketball games that are non-conference. I don't know if anybody can be in charge of that. That's like, at least for large groups of people, that's just organic. You've got to do some things to promote it, but you're never going to have the same thing A&M has. Good thing and a bad thing. You're never going, the Baylor line has been non-existent this year. The culture just, something happened and it just stopped. I don't know if their expectations are too high, but
yeah, it would be interesting to see what was the difference? What went wrong? Is there a reason why, or is it just
I don't know. Why what?
Students just stopped showing up.
Well, they showed up for the first 3 games.
What's what I'm saying?
The last 2 games have been 11 a.m. I'm not going to blame it on 11 a.m., but that's the common denominator.
That seems fair. I mean, you wish you wouldn't, but I mean, it is what it is.
And if you want to compare it to A&M and UT and whoever else,
no,
UT sold out 110,000 people for 11 a.m. Saturday, and that stadium looked fantastic. But this ain't that. It's just not the same thing. And you've got to find ways. You have just been hit with every bad time for a football season possible so far. You had one good, and that was Texas Tech. Thursday night, Friday night, 2 11 a.m.s, and then Texas Tech. I don't think you're going to get that unlucky in the future, but it has not helped.
A lot of our students work in the morning. That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is that my first reaction is to dismiss excuses, but then you can't really do it. You got to listen and say, I don't like it. I don't believe it. But if it's, it is what it is. Okay. You're telling me there's a problem. Okay. Let's figure it out. See what we can do with it.
But you went from 9,000 pulls in those first 3 games, 8,000, 9,000, to about 3,000 or 3,500 yesterday. It's hard for me to believe that 5,500 people had to work the day after Halloween. And Halloween was an issue, and, there's a million things. But I really don't know. I don't know how to, if there was one answer, it would have been done. But
did you go back to this question? The culture?
No.
Oh, culture is in diverse culture of U of H students and alumni versus traditional student bodies. Should we attack this from a different angle to attract our students? I've seen that thrown out there a lot, and I think that's looking for a scapegoat. It feels like.
Well, you don't choose your students based on football games. You choose your students for a better student body, so that you can build your university into what you want.
And I understand the question, but how many students we have this year? 40 some odd thousand.
Yeah.
Well, we're not asking for 40,000 every game.
No.
And I see the group of people that show up, and it's a very diverse crowd. I just think we're looking for, and I understand the frustration in attendance, especially in a time and era where social media is everything, and it's a giant freaking blank measuring contest on social media, and our attendance is greater than everybody else's, and look how great our attendance is, and I want to be cool on Instagram, and look at our attendance, and your attendance sucks, all that bullshit. But U of H, historically, this is not unique this year, shows up a year after success. Okay, let me pull up the numbers here. I was going through today. In 2015, we averaged the Peach Bowl team. We averaged 33,980. Right now, we're averaging 32,448. In 2016, we averaged 38,953.
So just reading numbers.
So what happens? What happens is that people enjoy what they see right now, and then next year more people buy season tickets and more people show up for the hype because there might be preseason implications. Might be hyped up about that. Hopefully a bowl win to carry momentum into the next year, and win a national championship in basketball, which carries more momentum into football. And then we're in the CFP hosting on campus game.
Do you think students would show up for that?
Well, I don't know. They didn't show up for the AAC title game.
Well, that was a generation ago. Those guys are 32. So it seems like U of H messed up in the 90s and early 2000s. There is a lost generation. Correct. There's a lost generation from 1985 to 2003. You're talking 18 years of students. And you did have that 3-year run and shoot, but you did nothing to build on that. Your attendance was terrible. The people that were there for the run, we had Star Pizza yesterday with somebody that was there for those run and shoot years, and they still talk about it. They still have so much excitement talking about those years, but you did nothing to build from that. And then the 90s just completely wiped out a generation. Towns might be the only person his age that cares about U of H. My age, there's very few people that care.
I mean, I think in kind of my age range, there might be 10.
Yeah.
And we know them all.
Yeah. And it's so hard to get those people back when you didn't have them when they were students. Right. And so you have a fan base that goes from about up to 35 right now, maybe 38. And then fast forwards to damn near 60 because that middle group is just gone. They were never there. And that's nothing you can make up in a year or 5 years or 10. It's just going to take a long time. And, this is an aging fan base, and it's just going to be a struggle to get that back. But what does it is winning. And I think you're on the right track. You had a quarterback that had the worst possible day holding on to the football yesterday. If he just 2 turnovers, and you're looking at an 8-1 team right now. But I think you're going to have these guys focused going into the space game in Orlando Friday. I'm excited about it. But let's talk about tomorrow night just real quick.
You're excited about Orlando. That's a shock.
I am not. I don't make this trip very often. I'm going this year, and probably maybe been my last time.
Specifically last year, you're never going to Orlando again.
Yeah, and here I am.
Exactly.
Going to Disney. I'm going to have my little mouse ears. No? Okay. Tomorrow night, Kelvin Sampson goes for win 800. You're hanging a Final Four banner. You have you hung your 2 conference title banners in the practice gym. You have 3 freshmen that are going to play. 2 are going to start. You're going to see a lot of young guys. If you didn't go to the exhibition, this is really your first time to see Kingston, to see Chris, what's his name? Sanak, Isaiah Harwell. I'm kind of excited. I want to see what these guys look like in an actual game. I thought the exhibition, they were kind of going a little too fast. It wasn't pretty, but they've now had 7 days to atone, and we'll see what happens. The team spends the night before games at Kelvin Sampson's house. Karen makes cookies. They hang out. They play games. They compete against each other and chill. Usually they have a basketball game going in one of the rooms. So that's why we didn't have any of those people on tonight, is because this is part of their game day. We expect to have somebody from the basketball team, maybe the top somebody, next Sunday night. So be looking ahead to that. Next Saturday, you have a game against Towson. I will not be here for that. My first time to miss a game in the last couple of years. Who are you going to have in high def? Brad Towns, Galen.
Oh, yeah.
We might have to bring some babysitters in for that
one. I might have to hit some people up, and we'll see about that. But it's probably going to be well, let's just put it this way, folks. We are definitely going off the rails a little.
Yeah. Hopefully my plane crashes. I don't have to deal with it. This is a really good point. Almost everyone I was in UH band with are still die-hard athletic supporters. This I 100% agree with, and that's on me. The people that form those relationships in the spirit of Houston have kept them going, and they built a love for athletics that you really don't see a lot of others have built. That's impressive.
Well, and see, that's the thing. That's the reason why I hope we make a strong effort to figure out what's going on with the students and really trying to get them to games, because they are core to our future. Because I hear it from a lot of friends in other schools and whatnot. They go back and they're continuing to go to and support their schools, because it kind of gives them that kind of time travel back in time, that reminds them of what was once good and what was once completely impure. But it is, if you enjoyed it as a student, more likely to come back, because it does get to kind of relive the good old days, if you will, and get to celebrate the ties that you made with other people. So I
didn't have that experience in college. That sounds like a lot of fun, but I never had it. Wanda, we have an answer for you. This is one of the things I like about Eddie the most. I just got a text. I was just sent a text from one of my staff members that you had someone ask about restrooms, and we were unaware of it, but it was mentioned to me yesterday. We are on it. Judge them by what they do. If they fail on this, judge them by that. If they get it right, judge them on that. But that's responsive. And last time Eddie was on, I think we had kind of the same situation, is that he heard about something and he responded right to me. Appreciate that. I did not have that with previous ADs, but we do have that relationship with this one. And so I do appreciate it. And thanks, Eddie. And we'll definitely be looking at that. Thanks, Ryan. Got you, Wanda. We're all on it. Oh, go ahead. Let's try again.
If we're trying to get students to games, then we should make the students the campus extremely athletic centric. I'm not sure what that means. In the next one, Jason had a similar. Y'all expand on what y'all mean on that. I'd be interested to find out a little bit more what that means. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But I do. One thing I do believe is that we have to do everything we can to get those students out. I mean, it's at this point, if you got to beg, you got to beg. I mean, Kelvin's has never been above going out and begging students to come out and putting his bullhorn and going out and really getting in front of everybody that will listen, just being the old-timey carnival barker. I think that whatever it takes, because really, I mean, if we're going to look at the future of this program, it has to start with them, because you're not going to, like Ryan said earlier, we're not going to pull back. We're not going to pull back people who have never been a part of it. You can't rely on a core of casual fans to turn into hardcore fans without the students who turn into alumni being hardcore.
All the Aggies talk about is sports. Sheep. It's not that. It's never going to be that. It's just not the same culture. The Aggies that are on campus are the third, fourth, fifth generation. This has been their thing forever. U of H just doesn't have that. Not yet. Mm-hmm. We have a guy on one of our sites whose name on there is third generation Coug. That's the first one I've ever met. You just don't have that. So I don't know that that's ever going to happen. And, good or bad. Can you ask Eddie if they do targeted ads across Houston? No reason my TV, Apple TV, and apps I'm watching should not be targeting me with info about games for U of H, like school districts. Maybe. I don't know the cost of that.
But I understand his point. I would be interested to see kind of what that plan is.
Yeah. You don't see that kind of advertising. Really, it's not marketing now, but it could be interesting. Walking on campus, there is no connections to athletics except for bandit signs with the schedule. Professors have no pride. I agree with this. It almost seems like a disconnect where athletics is this one thing and then the campus is this other thing.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back a long time.
There's
always been it seemed like an adversarial relationship between the two sides of Cullen. I mean, hell, when I was here, it seemed like every other week they were calling for eliminating athletics.
Yeah, they really were.
And they might have had a point back then, because this program was terrible.
Yep. All right, Brad, let's wrap this up. It's 9:40.
Hey man, I really do appreciate everybody who showed up, everybody who posted questions on Coug fans about it. I wish we could have gotten to more of them. I hope we try to get as much as we possibly could. Unfortunately, some people are going to be disappointed we weren't as thorough as they might have wanted us to be, and the answers might have not have been ideal, but I think we got as much as we could, as much detail. The thing that I took most from it, I got a lot more insight into what's going on, and maybe more insight on why things are the way they are. I would love for everything to be cured immediately, but that's just the way things are. But I do I do really, really appreciate Eddie for taking the time and stepping up and taking these questions. I mean, he had no clue what we were going to talk to him about. Probably had a pretty good idea.
No, I mean, he had a clue.
But I mean, I just really appreciate that. It's not a fun thing for people to have to kind of stand in the firing line like that. And, we just hope for improvements. It's really no different than the approach I have for football and for basketball. I just look for improvement. I don't expect perfection, but improving each time out. And I really, fingers crossed, we get a lot of things ironed out for basketball, because it's going to be a real important season.
Yeah, I think improvement's the important thought. As a society, we think that if there's a problem, number one, you fire somebody. And number two, it's always linear and there's somebody to blame. And as long as you get that person, that it's going to be fixed. And as Eddie told you, with traffic, you're dealing with Metro, you're dealing with campus police, you're dealing with traffic on campus, the department, you're dealing with constables, the sheriff's department. There's a lot of people that go into that. And you're dealing with the state with, hell, we're going to close this exit and we're going to shut something down. And it can be a lot. And U of H, if it was all private, if it was all cops that they paid, that's one thing. But that's not how traffic like that works. You've got to go through the agencies. And so I'm going to give them a break there. You're dealing with Chartwells in terms of the concessions. You're dealing with the parking contractor in terms of that. But the things they can control, that's where you want to see kind of immediate improvement.
Right.
I am not crying for the people in the club, but they're waiting in a line for, 75 people are in line to get in the club. Those are the people that are paying the freight. Why are they waiting so long to get in the damn club? Again, not crying for them.
Well, the thing is I don't think people are asking too much as far as special treatment goes. I think they're asking to receive the value for what they've paid.
Yes.
And that goes for everybody. I mean, whether the doors are messed up on the restroom stalls, whether the lines are irrationally long, or whether the food is not as fresh as it should be, or even flat out straight up stale. People have expectations for what they spend their money on. And I'm for us as a university and a program to be able to make the revenue and generate the revenue that we want, we have to provide as much value per dollar as possible.
Yeah. And
in every way.
And he said it, and it's the thing I heard at LSU from the time I was a kid, is that your experience starts when you get in a car at home, and it doesn't end until you get home. And maybe that's a goofy way to say it, but they want to have your experience getting onto campus, walking around campus, getting into the stadium, in the stadium, concessions, bathrooms, just everything where athletics touches a fan, a consumer. They want you to have a good experience. It's clear they're not giving you that right now. It needs to be better. I think basketball was pretty good by Big 12 play last year. Why didn't that transfer over to football? I don't know. But if they can get better, if you see improvement with the TCU game, I think that's something you can build on. But you got to see improvement. You've got to see improvement from the time you get on campus, getting traffic across campus, getting you into the stadium. I think into the stadium has actually been better this year than I've seen it in previous years. That's it changes in metal detectors and things like that, and that helps. But they've got more people, and that is certainly helping. So Are they making improvements? Are they doing the things they need to do? And, we're not going to solve that tonight. You're going to have to see it in basketball season. You're going to have to see it in the TCU game. And then you'll judge it from there. Good show, y'all. Go Cougs. How often is this stream? We do this every Sunday night. We do another one after games, football and men's basketball. Thinking about some women's basketball stuff in the future. We'll see how that goes. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Basketball 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll do Cats afterwards. And then next Friday night, after the UCF game, the space game. And then Saturday next week, I don't even care. I don't even care if y'all do a show. It's all going to go up in flames anyways.
This is the last weekend. The last weekend we will have with no basketball until April.
Is that true? There's not an off week in there somewhere? Oh, there is. Right after.
I'm talking about just there's other games we can watch.
In this, yes, you can watch other games. Yeah, yes. 100%.
College basketball every weekend until April, which is now we're getting to the good stuff.
Shout out to me. Last night when I was on Ambien, I was like, we need to get in touch with Eddie. And I texted, and at 3 o'clock this morning, or 4 o'clock, but 3 o'clock with the time change, I freaked out, was like, oh shit, did I text the right person? I thought I might have gotten the wrong Eddie, but I didn't. So shout out to me. Do we know the time for the announcement for TCU? I'm going to tell you, this will probably be a 12-day announcement. If that's the case, it'll be next Monday, a week from tomorrow. If it's a 6-day, and the TV networks love using that 6th day in November, they get, I think, 4, maybe 5. They're going to use it if they can. So you could be waiting until the day after the game at Auburn. And I think that's on the 16th. So you could be looking at the 17th, I think. Just don't know. Just no clue. Star Pizza. Get you some Star Pizza. Since 1976, they have been serving you and your family. This is a U of H tradition. Mike Pittman and the people at all three do a great job taking care of U of H fans. Everybody should be there before the game tomorrow, after the game next weekend. Get you some Star Pizza. Section 12X, you got the brand new black hats. You got the other 2 hats, the Swag Coug, the Swinging Coug. You got the polos. Go get you some. And of course, we love our friends, our dear, close, personal friends. Let's do the other one. Thank y'all so much. We'll be
get yourself a $30 screwdriver.
$30 screwdriver. Where else can you get that but TDECU? Or that restaurant I was in New York City last summer.
Roller treatment, baby.
I went to Star Pizza the first time to watch the Arizona State game. Great food, good people too.
Damn right, we'd like to see that.
Good food, better people, as Galen would say. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll be at football practice tomorrow morning. We'll have the Lehigh scouting report. Jamie has been so excited. He has been texting me for a week. I got this done. I updated it. I'm working on Towson. I'm like, all right, Jamie, let's go. So we'll do that, and we'll see you tomorrow night for night 3 in a row. You and me and Brad and all our friends right here. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. GoCoogs.com. Check us out. We'll see you soon.
Get you munching away, big fella. Life doesn't get better than pizza and a Cougars game, huh? Go Cougs!